And so this is why I tell a lot of my friends and family, what's your credit look like? Because when you think about it on a grand scheme of things, 4,300 is not a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money from a business standpoint, because the average credit card approval is like $12,000. Why not say, hey, let's see what your credit look like, and we can take you to the bank and get a line of credit or a credit card for 10, 15,000.
If they don't qualify, if their credit's messed up.
That's the problem we got to fix. We fix the issue. I would rather invest in fixing a person's credit than to give them money. How many times have a person borrowed money from you and have to come back more than once, or has been in the same scenario, but they know they can't come back to you? Peace, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Full-Time CEO podcast, where we talk about real events, current events, financial topics, money, family, all that good stuff. Even some pop culture. What's going on, Kurt?
What's good, my brother?
Man, everything. So
How was Thanksgiving?
Man, my Thanksgiving was good, man. I was under the weather.
You know what? I was a little bit under the weather too.
I was under the weather. Went to LA. The temperature got really cold. Came back. Everybody on the plane sick. So I got back to Vegas like a day or two before Thanksgiving, and I was not 100%.
No, I was back in Chicago. You know, the weather's bad out there. So my daughter had a snotty Scotty.
Oh, man. Got you. Got you.
I came back to Vegas with the same snotty. Man. I'm blowing my nose, using Mucinex and everything else like that. So shout out to Mucinex. That does stuff really does help.
My son gets sick, he quarantines. Like, you cannot leave the room, son.
You put him in the room by himself?
I put him in a room. He got his PlayStations, all that stuff. He doesn't even want to come out.
I bet.
He has to get quarantined.
You know that's Will Roundtree, son. So you know how it goes.
He has to be quarantined because he know he get to play his games.
For sure.
Definitely, man. But no, so today, man, I want to talk about, a lot of the times, and I know you've been in the space and dealt with athletes, and you've done a lot of successful things, owned a lot of real estate, had a successful insurance brokerage, and all of those things, and I work with a lot of athletes, entertainers, people in Hollywood, all those different industries. But I want to ask you a serious question, my brother.
Uh-oh.
When somebody makes it, we always talk about making it out the hood.
Right.
Are you responsible for your friends and family financially?
Oh.
Now we got to think about that.
The responsibility, I would say, there's pros and cons to it. So I would say yes. And that's the tough part about it is.
So you're going to say yes?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
But the thing about it is I'm not going to enable you. I'm going to empower you and do it to the best of my abilities to make sure that you're successful and that you're figuring out a way to be self-sufficient.
Okay. I'm going to read you the definition of the word responsibility.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
It's a definition king right here.
All right. The definition of responsibility, the state or fact of having a duty to deal with something or having control over someone.
Right.
So are you financially responsible for people in your family when you make it?
To that definition, no.
To that definition, no.
Right.
So now, when I think about are you financially responsible for them, there's a couple different ways you can look at that.
Right.
Now, one of the ways I've looked at it sometimes is that what value does that person play?
Right.
What role do they play in the growth of the bag continuously coming?
Correct.
Right. I mean, when I think it was LeBron, he put some of his team through school.
But that's the way I'm considering being responsible for my team.
Okay.
For my people.
That's how you're looking at it.
Exactly.
But the masses, you hit a lick.
Yeah.
You win the lottery, or you sign a big free agent or
50
whatever.
50 mil.
They're not saying, hey, Curtis, can you send me to school? They saying, Curtis, can you pay my rent?
But that's how you have to come to them in that capacity, though. You have to say, if I'm not giving you anything.
That sounds good, Curtis.
That's how you eliminate people.
That sounds good. But if you get up 50 million, nobody's going to ask you, what can I do to work for you?
No, I don't expect them to say that, though. But how am I going to eliminate people?
I mean, that's true. But the question is, are you responsible for them financially?
No.
Initially, you said yes,
and I said no now, based on the definition. I say no.
So before the definition,
mm-hmm.
What was your reasoning on why you felt you were responsible for them?
I would basically take the LeBron analogy.
Okay.
The LeBron scenario. Or if you come to me with a viable plan, and what value do you bring to me in that capacity?
Correct.
Moving forward, how can we extend it back? How can we make this generational wealth? We're going to do that by putting you in position to help you take care of your family and grow generational wealth between everybody that's involved in our circle.
Man, that sounds good, Curtis.
Everything sounds
but they
good.
don't want to hear that.
I know that.
I can show you probably 15 messages right now of people that done hit me up in just the past week.
Okay.
That's asked for some money.
So, did you give it to them?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Did you ask them to help you get put in position? To help them put in position?
So here's the thing. I used to feel guilty
mm-hmm.
for being the one that made it.
Right.
And so at one point, I was saying yes to everybody.
Right.
You get help. You get help. You got a light bill. Like
Oprah.
I'm paying everybody's. I don't even think they was paying the bill, but I was helping and contributing to everyone situation.
Right.
Because it was like, man, if I was in that role, I would want somebody to help me.
Mm-hmm.
But then what I started to find out is that a lot of people don't even try.
You're 100% correct.
And so we got to the point where it was like, okay, depending on how close we are,
mm-hmm.
our relationship,
mm-hmm.
if you ask me and we're not close, that means you've burned other people in your family, possibly.
100%. 100%.
So that means you're not paying me back.
Now the payback game, that's a totally different thing.
That's a cold world. I've pretty much said, look,
if I'm loaning you some money.
If I'm not
gone.
Even loan. If I give you this money,
true,
it's because I can just afford to not get it back.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
It's like you're not getting it back.
I agree with that.
You're
100%.
not.
No.
Because here's what I've learned. If somebody asks me to borrow $1,000,
right,
and they say, hey, Curtis, man, can I borrow $1,000? I'll give you back in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now 9 times out of 10, that person probably gets a paycheck every 2 weeks.
For sure.
What in your financial situation is going to change in 2 weeks where you're going to have my 1,000 because you're already down 1,000 from whatever you owe. And then your paycheck, whatever you making on that paycheck, you still got to cover the bills for the rest of that month.
True.
This is why people don't normally pay people back.
100%.
But I don't think nobody look at it like that.
No, I mean, I already know if I'm loaning somebody some money, I'm 80% not getting it back. Maybe 90 on the joint. So like, I totally agree with you in that capacity.
So at what point do you let them borrow the money? Or do you have a limit?
You can easily be saying no, but you can definitely have a limit too.
What's your limit? 100 and under? You might say yes.
On who it is.
All right.
Like if it was my mom and she needed it.
Yeah, I mean, Ma Dukes, that's different.
If it was my...
Do you keep tabs on moms though?
Nah. I mean, you do mentally.
All right.
You do mentally, but at the same time, like, you know, my immediate family, if they're in the gym, like even my closest friends, like if they were in the gym, I would definitely hit them off.
Right.
And now would I expect it back? No. If they decide that you can give it back to me, you know, if I'm giving it to you, that means that I can afford it.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm gonna play devil's advocate though.
Go ahead.
Do you think people lie about what they actually need the money for?
Oh man, you ain't got that's not devil's advocate. That's a fact right there, bro. Nah.
See, I have a thing. I don't support bad habits.
I agree.
So if I know you got a drinking problem, you like to, trick it off going on dates. Look, bro, you not using my money to go to the Cheesecake Factory. You're just gonna have to go to wherever.
Golden Corral. Applebee's.
The buffet. And so I'm not.
Buffet is expensive now.
Buffets is getting, especially here,
especially
in Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah.
But yeah. So then it becomes a point. Do you have a limit of what you let them borrow, and are you verifying their story? Because if it's a bill, send me the bill.
Right.
I'll pay the bill. I'll pay the bill.
Okay.
If it's a light bill, because first of all, what bill is $100 on the dot?
None. at all. Wintertime Vegas, I mean, even still, you may not use your heat as much as the air in the summertime, but I mean, no bills are still higher than 100.
Well, not even that. And when I say what bill is 100, I mean I've never seen a bill that's an even number.
Mm-hmm.
People always ask for an even number. So, do you think people are asking for more than what they really
that bill might be 60 and then that extra 40?
See, nobody ever thinks about this. Okay. This is the type of stuff I think about.
No.
Like, who asked for $2,400? Like, what do you need $2,400 for?
You know what I think? I'm gonna get you. They asked for 24. That means they have a few different things they're trying to get accomplished. And one of them is put a couple extra in their pocket.
They definitely putting a couple extra in their pocket.
Of course.
They definitely put a couple.
I've been in that situation before.
Now, I've never asked to borrow money.
Right.
Now, I'll tell you one thing I did.
I have.
I'll tell you what you asked to borrow for.
It was probably I wasn't always financially savvy.
Right.
So
I mean, I got stories. Yeah, I got stories. So I definitely was.
You know, I needed a couple of eyes here and there, maybe to pay a car note.
Okay.
Maybe to pay a bill or something like that, just to get myself, above water.
Okay.
But that was, me helping myself be able to sustain my lifestyle at that point in time. And I needed a little bit of extra.
Okay.
Maybe when I was doing commission business, the commissions didn't come in yet, or I didn't close. The underwriting process had to go a little bit farther when a life insurance policy I was trying to go on. So it took a little bit longer for me to get paid.
But you had money out there.
Yeah, I had money coming in. I had money coming in.
That's different.
For sure.
Now, I've never asked to borrow money before.
Okay.
But what I did ask to do once, this was back when the Blackberries came out.
Oh.
I asked my friend to put me on this plan.
Okay.
That's probably worse than because I couldn't afford to pay the cell phone bill.
Right.
So our phones eventually got he might have just shut me off.
Right.
But I'm sure he had a cancellation fee that was more than
Facts.
What I would have probably asked to borrow.
It was a lesser two evil just to cut you out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So to my brother Justice out there, I apologize. I got our cell phones cut off back in 2005. But it was a BlackBerry. They just came out.
You was flying up for
man. I was flying broke.
Hey man, I mean, remember, I'm gonna tell you this story. This is a story about how broke I was at one point in time. Right. Me and my homeboy was at the Indianapolis Black Expo.
Okay,
and we was both shining and stunting. One with my cell phone, which was cut off, but I had my mom's cell phone at the time, which we were stunting with too. Hey man, when I was fresh out of high school.
Hey, why do people stunt? Why people think being on a cell phone is a stunt?
You know what the worst probably advice people can give is fake it till you make it.
That will put you in some bad situations.
That'll put you in bad situations.
I can remember when I first moved to Vegas, being in the club, I would pretend I was on my phone in the club. First of all, the music is loud as hell, so who am I talking to?
You're screaming.
When I see people on their phone in the club, I'm like, bro, you are not talking to nobody.
Can't be.
Nobody's calling you.
Because you ever been in the club and somebody is outside and they're like, yo, I'm outside. You can't hear a word.
You can't hear.
You're trying to give them directions. They're trying to get in. They
now, if you're in VIP, I'm like, okay, they calling you. But if you're in Gen Pop, bro,
if you're walking across the
just follow, just come across the club, you'll see me.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't know, people. I don't know. But that was once me. That was once me.
I've been there. I just told you about my two cell phones. One was fake and one was on.
Boy, we like the front, like we love fronting.
Hey, I used to front my mom Cherokee. Shout out to moms, man. She let me. Man. I used to front for a lot of people.
Let me see. Did I front with my vehicles? No, I mean I've had several. I had 2 vehicles repoed.
Hey man, I mean it's part of the game.
So I guess fronting is that I was driving a car I never got registered.
I mean, but you had to go through that trial.
I did.
To realize, to become Will Roundtree, to become, credit guru.
Man,
you had to bump our heads out here.
Only knew the stories. So when I moved to Las Vegas, and of course I didn't know anything about credit at the time. Mm-hmm. I went to the Nissan dealership on Sahara.
Okay.
And I don't even know how I made it over there.
Right.
Maybe somebody just dropped me off. I don't know.
Right.
Went in there, bought a vehicle. They ain't asked for no paperwork because I ain't had no job. I didn't have a constant residency. I was living with somebody. I was just renting a room.
Right.
And they let me drive off the lot with a brand new Nissan Altima.
Right.
No insurance, no job. I still had my Wisconsin license plates. Mm-hmm. my Wisconsin's license. And here's something that I quickly learned about Nevada. That for all those people who like to move to states where they have no state tax, they make their money back up in DMV and car registrations.
They don't know.
People don't know.
They don't know.
So they just like, oh, no state tax. But then you want to go drive something fly, and then based upon the MSRP of the vehicle, that's how much the registration is going to be. My car registration was $675.
Can I get a hallelujah?
Man,
I'm right there with you.
I
bro.
never registered it.
When I first moved here, when I first moved to Vegas myself, I went and purchased a 7 Series BMW.
Oh, that's at least $1,500.
Dog. I wish I'd have put the license plate in my daggone car, no payment.
I know. How much was the registration?
It was a used one. It was but it was about $900.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people don't think about that.
I didn't even think about it until I got the bill like a week later after I purchased the car, because BMW did not tell me.
They won't.
The dealership did not tell me.
They won't. They was high-fiving as you drove off the lot.
Oh yeah, we got a new one. We got a sucker.
Right.
Yeah.
So I never registered the vehicle, never made a car payment.
Right.
And I drove around the car with dirty tags and never making a payment for a year and a half before
You got a good time out of that.
I had a run.
Yeah.
I had a run. I had a run.
You was fly though.
I was fly. Brand new Altima?
Back in the day, the Altima was a joint. If you had a Maxima or Altima, you was that dude.
Brand new Altima?
Oh yeah, you could. You was cooking.
Like, had the CD, had a 3-disc CD changer in there too.
Fam.
Man, you couldn't tell me nothing. With
Still
the BlackBerry that was cut off, so I had to get another phone.
You was really fried.
So at one point I did have 2 phones too, because I had the BlackBerry that didn't work.
Okay.
And then I had another Sprint device that it was probably just free because I was on the bottom credit. I think everybody still owes Sprint money. If you black, you owe Sprint money.
I probably did, because I left my phone on Sprint's desk, and I moved to AT&T the same day.
Hey,
because they cut my phone off over like 15 cents.
Man, Sprint was vicious.
Oh man, I said, dude, y'all cut my phone off 15 cents.
Sprint
I said, y'all can
vicious.
keep the phone.
I got another story. Man, I got so many stories. So
let's go.
When I left Yellow Pages,
okay,
and then went to start my tax business, it didn't work out, so I had to go back to work. Got a job for Sprint. Outside sales. Yeah. Because I said, if I'm going to go back in the workforce, I want to do outside sales so I'm not stuck in the office.
Exactly.
So with Sprint, obviously, you get a free cell phone.
Right.
So I'm like, man, bet I can save on my cell phone bill, whatever.
Right.
And so I went to try to get my cell phone from them, and it kept getting denied. And I'm like, damn, why are they denying my cell phone?
On the corporate side?
Yeah. And so this went about 3 weeks, and so they did an internal investigation. Come to find out, I had a $1,600 balance with Sprint. But here's the thing. The reason I never saw it on my credit, because I had already disputed it off. So for people who
shout
don't know.
Shout out to the credit king right there.
Shout out to the credit king. So for people who don't know, when you get debt off your report, it's still out there.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that. So I was.
When does it pop back on? Or does it ever?
Well, so after the statute of limitations and after all of those things, they can't re-report it.
Okay.
And they can't come and sue you for the debt.
Okay.
So, but the debt can still sit out there for years. So I
came back and haunted you.
It didn't come back. I just couldn't get an account with Sprint.
Gotcha.
So it didn't come back on my credit. I just couldn't get a corporate account. So I was the only Sprint employee with a T-Mobile phone.
So what did corporate say to you?
I didn't tell them. You think I'm about to be in the meeting and say, "Oh yeah, I can't get a phone because I owe $1,600."
I always thought they would have been there on the reporting side of it and been like,
"Nah," because we worked in a small office. It was only like 6 of us outside sales reps because we went and sold services to small businesses, and so but they could have wrote that $1,600 off, man.
They definitely could a long time ago though.
I know I gave them $1,600 worth of work. They could have wrote that. More than that.
Because I know you were selling your ass off.
Actually, I didn't.
Oh, but never mind.
Because I was ready to get back out of corporate America. I was ready to get back out of corporate America, man.
Shout out to the entrepreneurs that want to get out of corporate America. First off, let me tell y'all, we believe in this firmly over here. Do not quit your job when you become an entrepreneur.
You will be going back.
You will be going back to your job.
And you might have debt at that company.
We're going to get you real estate in 90 days. But at the same time, do not quit your job when you get those
Do
first few
not
properties.
quit your job, man. So going back to, are you responsible for your family when you make it? So now, here's one of the things I bring. One of the reasons I bring it up. I heard an interview with Jay-Z where he talked about he had a cousin
Right.
come to him and say, "Hey, I got a plan, whatever," and
Yeah.
wanted to borrow. I want to say, I think it was like $4,300,
I think so.
and he told him no.
Right.
And people actually got mad at him.
Definitely.
What's your stance on that?
I mean, like I said before, like if we can come to an agreement or we can see a plan, but if you don't put in the work, that's the hard part about it. And if your track record says you don't put in the work, that's probably the reason why Jay-Z said no.
Okay.
Because he probably knew the backstory on that person.
Okay.
And was like, you're not a viable person to invest in. So I'm not going to continue to invest in your bad habits, like you said. Whatever his business plan was, he probably had other business plans that he never got to the finish line.
That's true. That's true.
So if he said, I'm not about to just keep wasting my money on a person that's really not going to put in the effort, energy, and can really not complete anything.
And I think a lot of people don't think about that. They're just like, oh, well, you're a billionaire and it's only $4,300.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's my $4,300, or in that case, it's Jay-Z's $4,300.
Exactly.
You know, and here's the thing too. Do you also look at their track record, or do you also look at the track record of the opportunity, the success rate of most opportunities?
That's a good one.
Banks,
Restaurants are not sustainable business
at all.
So
at all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He may have wanted to open up a chicken shack.
Facts.
or some type of restaurant.
That's true. So I mean, there's probably multiple reasons. We don't know all the details.
Very true.
And so like there's so many different dynamics that can come into play when it comes to you asking me for some money.
And so this is why I tell a lot of my friends and family, what's your credit look like? Because when you think about it, on a grand scheme of things, 4,300 is not a lot of money.
Correct.
It's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money from a business standpoint, because the average credit card approval is like $12,000. Why not say, hey, let's see what your credit look like, and we can take you to the bank and get a line of credit or a credit card for $10,000, $15,000.
Okay, but in that same scenario, if they don't qualify, if their credit's messed up,
so then that's the problem we got to fix.
So we fix their credit.
Well, we fixed the issue.
Okay, the mindset issue.
So I would rather invest in fixing a person's credit,
okay,
than to give them money. Because how many times have a person borrowed money from you and have to come back more than once, or
100%
has been in the same scenario, but they know they can't come back to you?
There's a lot of scenarios like that, but once you got money out on me, it's hard to come back to me and be like, hey, Kurt, I need some more money. Because why? I'm probably gonna like, what happened to the money? What you do with the money that I already gave you? You're already in the hole. But you got to look at the whole solution in that capacity as well.
Okay, so looking at the whole solution, that's why I say maybe we should address why they are in that hole.
No, I agree.
Because if you need, because let's look at it like this: somebody come and ask you for $300.
Okay,
what are you really gonna do with $300? That's not life-changing money
at all. But that's just a borrow scenario. Most oftentimes,
I get that.
So they're gonna be like, "Hey, I need to pay off a bill," or if my friend came to me and say, "Hey, I need some money for my kids' tuition," I'm not going to blink at that. But like you said, I may want to look at the bill to make sure that's really where it's going to.
And so now, but what changes in their situation financially so that they're not in that position again?
At that point in time, probably nothing.
So this is where sometimes we may need to put in a contingency. Hey, I'll help you with that bill, but let's look at your budget.
Correct.
Let's see where your money is going.
Right.
Are you paying too much for cable? Are you? I know people who's asked to borrow money from me, and a week later, I see them on vacation.
Oh, that's the worst.
That's the worst.
That's the worst.
And then they block me.
Yeah.
Because I
comment on their social media.
Yeah, I put 100. I put a 100 emoji.
My thing is a salute. I'm a salute dude. Hey. I hit him with that salute. I see you.
Hey, so I think that is sometimes the scenario where, hey, let's figure out what the disconnect is, right, to where, because again, and I'm never going to assume everybody is going to be hard grit like myself or yourself. But yeah, I never asked for money.
Right.
I just figured the shit out. So
Mhm.
I already know, like, if I need $300
Right.
and I know that my power bill, my cell phone bill, I know I can probably push those bills out at least
Mhm.
about a
An
month.
extra month. An extra month. Right.
So now I got $300.
Right.
And now for whatever I was going to do to make up and pay you back that 300, I'll figure out how to pay back the power company, the gas company, the electric and the water company, cuz I got at least 60-day window.
So come to this point, most people are living beyond their means, for one.
I think a lot of people do.
A lot of people are
A
living
lot of
beyond their means.
people.
So if you're making, let's say, $50,000 a year, do you believe a lot of people are living a $80,000 a year lifestyle or a $100,000 a year lifestyle?
So, and I hate to sound like this, but being in the space that I'm in,
You see a lot of people
I
going.
see a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I see how I see the highlight reels
Mhm.
of a lot of people.
Of course.
I know people with kids that make like $30,000
Multiple kids.
that got a flyer shoe collection than me.
Crush.
Now they may be fake.
Yeah.
The shoes the shoes might be fake, but
They figured out the code though.
But they figured out, but fake shoes expensive now.
No, they are. They definitely are.
With the dupes and the replicas,
Yeah.
they just as expensive now.
Yeah, they bumped up the price.
They've increased the price, and so like I get to see a lot of people highlight reels, and when I get people like not even necessarily asking to borrow money, but they'll ask for, hey, can you discount my services? Can you discount? And I'm like, fam, I see how you're living.
Yeah.
That, like you say, that fake it till you make it is
detriment to society, bro.
It's hurting a lot of people.
And I had a guy one time when I was when I first started in the insurance business. He said, buy the ticket. So he said, basically, buy whatever you want or your dreams or your heart's desire, and figure out a way to pay for it. I think that's backwards. That was the worst type of advice.
I'm impartial to that.
You think so?
Only here's why. It depends on a person's level of ambition and what they actually buy.
Right.
So, for example, you can drive a nice vehicle and still people think like, oh, damn, that's nice. Now, if you have like no opportunities to go out there and make an extra $5,000 a month, don't go get a Lamborghini.
Of course.
And don't rely on Toro.
Okay, let's take an analogy of a Cadillac Escalade, the 2024 joint.
Just go get a Cadillac 2015.
How about I get a Tahoe?
Or to get a Tahoe. But because it's really the same vehicle and it's equivalent.
Exactly.
And so that's what I mean when I said that it just buy the ticket. It's a way to still buy the ticket without getting a first class ticket.
So out of everything that we preach,
I don't necessarily believe in preaching. I wouldn't preach that to people, though.
No, I'm talking about everything that we talk about when we're empowering our people.
Okay.
So to go get the Tahoe instead of the Escalade is the smart way to do it, right?
I'm not even going to say it's smart.
Okay, the cost efficient as opposed to the different costs of those two different cars, right?
If we're going to look at this from a practical standpoint,
right,
I would tell you not to do it, period.
Not to get either one.
Absolutely not.
But I like from what in my mind, how I'm thinking about it is, let me get my assets or buy assets to where they can pay for those.
1,000%. But most people don't know how to delay that because they ready to stunt now.
Exactly. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, they want to, I'm ready to stunt today.
Correct.
Like Toro, the reason a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people get jammed up in that Toro space.
Because they wanted the cars for themselves.
Because they wanted the cars for themselves. They couldn't even delay the gratification. I was telling people, go get smart cars.
Right.
They will stay rented longer. Nobody's renting a Lamborghini in Mississippi.
No.
Unless you're like in Jackson.
Nobody rented a Lamborghini in Chicago, bro.
They're not renting Lamborghinis in Chicago. You're right. Unless you're
Streets
Dirk.
is already messed up as one.
Unless you Dirk.
Unless you Dirk.
But Dirk ain't driving it in the city.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
He better not.
And so people put themselves in positions because that is what they want.
Correct.
And they don't ever look at it from a business standpoint. From, you know, and like you mentioned, go get some assets first and let the assets pay.
Correct.
You know, I was reading an article talking in regards to assets, homes, real estate.
Yeah.
You know, we both love talking about real estate.
Correct.
You know, how'd you get into real estate, man?
I first got into real estate when I was in my 20s. I was about 25, 26.
Okay.
And I had a bunch of mentors around me that were in real estate themselves. But from that standpoint, they taught me how to get the asset, but they didn't teach me how to manage the asset, or what we're talking about on a day in, day out basis, how to do real estate as a business and and carrying it like it's a business.
Man, you want to know something interesting?
Go ahead.
Hope this one don't get me canceled.
You can't get canceled.
It's not directed towards anybody in
Right.
particular, but you know, people sensitive these days.
Of course.
One of the things that I've learned being on this journey since 2003, the average person teaching something can't teach.
I see that on the basketball side all the time. Because you get daddies, uncles, video guys.
Right.
That basically guys that played in rec leagues over at the YMCA.
And they might have been nice.
It might have been nice, but you can't teach.
You can't teach, man.
No.
And so when it comes to real estate and hearing your story, I see this even now. You and I both speak to so many people that own properties that makes no money in real estate.
None.
They didn't even know how they got the properties.
Exactly.
They just bought them.
Exactly.
Makes them no money.
None. And
they got equity and can't even tap into the equity. Credit messed up.
They don't know how to manage their property correctly to where their tenants are paying, they're servicing their debt.
They're stressed out.
Tenants leaving the properties tore up.
They stress the hell out.
No,
they want to get out of real estate.
Yeah.
They say real estate is a scam. How does something you live in is a scam? I never understood that, man.
On a day in, day out basis, somebody's making money off of you in real estate.
Literally.
Off everybody.
And so a lot of people can't teach. And so when I think about real estate investing, we have a lot of people who go and buy property because they listen to somebody who just said buy real estate.
But it's everywhere, though.
It is everywhere, which I agree you should buy it. But there's a certain way to buy it so that it can make you some money.
Let's give me some good scenarios on how you buy a property and make you some money.
So the first thing is that I'm going to look at I'm going to look at the back end of the real estate of that purchase.
Kind of like the exit strategy?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the back end before the exit strategy.
Okay.
Meaning, how am I going to make money off of this property?
Right.
Now, a lot of people when they get into real estate, they're looking to make a lot of money immediately. And so this is where real estate flipping became very popular. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't account for. Most of the time, real estate flippers make the bulk of their money selling to homeowners. And so somebody asked me, well, why is that the case? And I'm like, that's the case because who's going to spend top dollar for something? Consumers. As an investor, you're not going to spend $20,000 over ask or $20,000 over market.
Right.
You wanted $40,000 below market. So you're not my target audience if I'm a flipper.
Buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high. And you have to sell that to an end buyer or a home buyer. But what's happening now, I just read an article, and this was on the National Association of Realtors website, dated November 21st, 2023. Existing home sales have plummeted for the month of October by 4.1%.
Wow.
Home sales are down.
Of course.
The average medium house from a year ago is now $391,800. the fourth consecutive month of year-over-year price increases. So home sales are down, prices are going up.
Right.
So now if you're only selling to end buyers or home buyers, but sales are going down, the prices are going up, interest rates have climbed, you've put yourself in a position that you've now at a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because a lot of people who jumped into real estate wanted a lot of money immediately.
Right. Correct.
Whereas it's like, hey, let me make money forever, and I'll take compounded revenue from multiple properties.
That was my downfall when I first got into real estate, because my mentors were telling me to cash out at closing. So when I was going to the closings, I was walking away with, anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000
Right.
checks. How was I doing that? Because I was accessing the equity up front. So the value of the property really I was purchasing the property for, let's make easy numbers, $100K, but my note on the property was $50K. I mean, $150. That extra $150 was coming straight directly to me. Then I was putting tenants in my property, but what I was doing in my 20s, I wasn't smart with or have any wisdom when it came to money.
And I can probably assure you, you didn't even calculate the debt servicing to make sure the rent matched the mortgage.
That was the least of my worries.
Most people didn't.
That was the least. I cashed out with the $50K, and I thought I hit a lick.
And you just put anybody in there. I
put anybody in there. I wasn't really classifying my tenants. Tenants were leaving early, and this was around 2006, 2007.
Right.
So around that time, what happened in 2008? The market crashed
tremendously.
So my tenants were bouncing on me. My properties I was having to have people that come in and tear up my property. So all the horror stories that things could have happened, it happened. Pipes busting because of the wintertime, people leaving out of the house, water all over, water damage, things of that nature. And my properties became failures.
Stuff that nobody ever thinks about.
Nobody ever thinks about. Water heaters going bad, furnaces going bad,
right?
All different types of things that happen in my properties, and I became a slumlord.
Man, so your picture was somewhere in City Hall.
Hope not.
So my introduction to real estate was a bit different, and I think that's why my viewpoints on how I look at real estate is a little bit obscure, or abstract than the average person.
Okay.
And so I can remember, I really didn't realize this until probably like the last 2 years. I've really been around real estate all my life.
It's kind of crazy. I have been too.
Like my parents used to dabble in real estate. My mother had a real estate license. My grandfather in Milwaukee, who used to do work with him back in the day. Interesting story about my grandfather. I would work with him every summer for a week worth of work.
Right.
I go over there at 8:00, come back home at 5. He'd give me like $12 for the week.
Got to learn, you young buck.
Man, hey, I ain't getting no handouts.
Got to learn your lesson, young buck.
For real. And so grew up around that. And my grandfather actually had like 40 plus houses and 2 or 3 car washes.
Okay. He was an entrepreneur for real.
He was an entrepreneur, had a 3rd grade education.
Wow.
And so I grew up around that, but I didn't know the magnitude. And so could you imagine having 40 houses, and let's just say the average rent in all of them houses was $500 a month.
Okay.
I'm going to actually do the math here. Now, keep in mind, this was in the early 90s.
How many properties was it?
He had like 40.
Okay.
So we're going to take 40 times 500. My grandfather was making approximately $20,000 a month in 1994.
Man.
$20,000 a month.
So that's really like 40,000.
Easily. So we're saying, so that was $240,000 a year in 1992, 93, somewhere around there.
Cash flow.
Now, he owned all of the properties free and clear.
Oh my goodness.
Because he were buying those houses for like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000.
Yeah.
Now, in 2005, 6, 7, somewhere around there, he actually tried to give me all of his houses. Turned it down.
Wasn't ready yet.
And they was in the hood.
Definitely wasn't ready if they was
I didn't see
didn't see the value.
I didn't see the value. Today that portfolio worth $5 million.
Oh, easy. maybe even more.
literally. And so that taught me a valuable lesson.
Well, let me
Was
ask you this:
yes,
why didn't grandpops teach you that lesson?
that was one of the things I was going to get to. He wasn't a teacher.
Goes back to what we talked about.
See, we assume people we get upset, and I at one point I actually was a little bit upset because like, man, why you didn't teach me this? And of course, I never had an opportunity to talk to him about that because he
Right.
passed away, I believe in 2013, 14, somewhere around there. And so we get mad at people because we are like, man, you didn't teach me anything, or even with our parents, but they're not teachers.
Correct.
We assume that they can teach us stuff. Now, they can provide us information or point us in the right direction because here's the reality. Our parents are learning on the fly.
100%.
Their parents was
learned on the fly.
yeah,
There's
and
no
most
rule
of
book to this
it's
stuff.
no rule book, and usually our grandparents worked so much that our parents wasn't even raised. Like they just had parents. Like we really got to start looking at the dynamics of that. Think about that.
Right.
Our parents were just they had parents. Some of them were not raised.
Right. Right.
That means they wasn't taught how to be husbands. They wasn't taught how to be wives. They wasn't taught about money. They wasn't taught about credit. They wasn't taught about none of that stuff.
Correct.
And so now a lot of people in our generation, our grandparents owned stuff.
Exactly. It definitely did.
They owned stuff. They had businesses, but in our parents' generation, they lost it all. And so now we're back in the generation where we're trying to build this, this generational wealth, and we're putting so much pressure on ourselves, not knowing that we weren't taught this information.
Correct. That's true.
Some of us are first generation of getting access to information or knowing the value of owning real estate or starting a business or whatever the case may be. We're the first generation in a lot of cases.
That's true. But from that same standpoint, what do we need to do to get people more educated and help more people do that? Is it a mindset change in that dynamic, or do you think that we need to be out here more? Because we got to save more people.
Well, we could look at that two ways. Yes, we do have to save more people, but do we want that to be our plight?
No, we're not necessarily got to be our plight. I just think that it's good stewardship over our communities.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But what I'm asking is, and I'm just always looking at it from the devil's advocate standpoint.
Correct.
Do you think that sometimes when you make that your mission, you fight an uphill battle?
I see it as it's kind of like this in basketball because I use sports analogies all the time.
Okay.
I can have a basketball team full of 12 players. How many of them are going to go pro?
Maybe one.
Probably none.
Statistically, none of them. That's why I said maybe one.
So what can I do? I can do my best to make them all successful, or my goal is to get them all in college. Being a pro can be your dream, but if you don't reach the stars, if you land on the moon, you're still in good position.
Okay. So with that being said, what if they are fighting you on even the pathway on getting there?
Sometimes you got to tell them to take their ball and go home.
So that's what I'm saying. So is the plight really, hey, I need to save more people, or I'm focusing on who wants to be here?
We're going to focus on who wants to be there because everybody from the same analogy of if I give this person money, but we're going to give them knowledge and let them figure out a way to grow off of the knowledge that we're giving them.
Right. So that goes, and I'm 1,000% with you. So that goes back to, are we financially responsible for our family? One, if they don't want to improve their situation, if they don't want to create opportunities to bring value. So, for example, me being an entrepreneur, if I had a relative who lived in Las Vegas with me and I let them borrow some money, okay, a way that someone can provide value may be, hey, driving me around.
Correct.
Because as somebody who's busy,
Yeah.
driving cuts a lot into your productivity time.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have an hour drive one way to an event, to give me 2 hours back, so that way I can make some productive moves, whether it's
Right.
via email or making phone calls.
Right.
Okay, at least earn the money.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather say, hey, Curtis, can I borrow $1,000, but let me earn it.
Sweat
equity. Because here's another thing too, and this is actually this is a free one for y'all.
Okay.
I learned a long time ago as a mentee.
Mm-hmm.
If you really, people always like, oh, let me pick your brain. Like that shit, don't nobody like that shit. Let me just tell y'all, like, I don't care who your mentor is, they don't like, let me pick your brain.
Exactly.
Okay. But if you offer to drive them around, you actually learn more.
You're going to pick up more game.
You're going to pick up way more game, because all of the things that you're going to ask them on how they do business, you're going to hear it in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all want to get to your favorite mentor, ask to drive them around, to be their driver.
But that brings value.
Because
you're giving them a cushion on their time. So if you could be on the phone or sending an email, sending a text, whatever you need to while they're driving you around, you're earning valuable time back.
1,000%.
So that brings value to that person.
Yeah, and I know some people know that strategy, because there's been times where I've flown to different cities for events, and people be like, "Hey, let me pick you up."
For sure.
And I don't put two and two together, and they be like, I picked you up just so I can hear you on your calls.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I appreciate that. Smart person, smart guy. So it's like, you got to be able to find ways to create value, and so in when we think about value, and even in real estate or information, after you went through that housing market crash, how come you didn't get to the point where you're like, man, I ain't never doing that again? Because there's a lot of people who came out of that and it was like, you know what, I hate real estate.
For one, I saw the value in real estate. It may not, all money is not good money,
definitely,
but I learned a lesson in those L's that I took. So from that standpoint, basically the information that I derived in my failure taught me valuable lessons now, and kept learning lessons from those lessons of those L's that I learned back those days.
Right.
So, me taking equity out of the property up front, I didn't need to do that. Or I could have took less.
Right.
But also I need to figure out a better business structure for my real estate companies or the assets that I was bringing together. That was one learning lesson. For two, creative financing. The story that you tell when you're trying to get financing was key, enabling me to get to those, accessing those properties.
Right.
One thing that my mentor did at that point in time, he was savvy at creative financing. Did I know what he was doing? No, he just learned. He figured out a way for me to get the property.
Right.
I had 10 rental properties in Indianapolis, and in the beginning they were all cash flowing. I was only making maybe like $200 or $300 off a property, but that's still winning.
Right.
But me accessing all the equity up front, when push came to shove, I didn't learn my lesson on the back end when the market crashed, because I was upside down on those loans.
Right.
And then two, valuable lesson long term, me having rental properties was good income. And so me figuring out that asset, I didn't know that I was a millionaire at that point in time. I had told my grandmother I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 30. I was a millionaire at 26.
I bet you didn't even realize it.
I didn't realize it because I didn't know those assets that I held
made me a
millionaire.
Yeah.
So, if you think, and if you're the higher power, whoever that you're working with, like, he gave me my wish. I spoke it into existence. And legitimately, I had what I wanted, but I wasn't a good steward of what I wanted, what I had, because I didn't get taught the lessons that were going to teach me long-term generational.
Definitely.
So those properties at this point in time would probably been worth $2 or $3 million.
Oh, I can only imagine. Probably,
and that's off 10. And that's off 10 properties.
I can probably more than that.
Yeah. So those are 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2-bathroom houses.
Where was this at?
In Indianapolis.
Let's just say right now, each one of them worth 200.
Just thinking, I'm gonna say this. The areas that they're in have been regentrified at this point.
So they're probably worth more than that.
And so they're probably worth more than that. They were worth probably the $300,000-$400,000, maybe even $700,000-$800,000 homes now. And
so this is why I tell people, the name of the game in real estate is you buy it and just own it. You sit on it, collect your rent. Because now, if I can teach you how to make some money in real estate, you ain't got to ask me for $300.
Exactly.
Because you're gonna get that. out of a property every month.
And you just built your own bank.
And you built a bank.
You built your own bank. People don't understand that dynamic when it comes to this.
You don't, man. And that's the thing that I'm really trying to get people to understand is that, look, instead of coming to Curtis or coming to myself or Daniel or whoever and saying, hey, let me borrow $300-$400.
Right. Let's teach you how to.
Teach you how to put that on autopilot.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
That simple.
So now if somebody come to ask you to borrow some money,
let's figure out a way.
Are you still financially responsible for them, Curtis?
No, sir. Hey, can we get a bomb dropped on that, man? We ain't financing nobody's lifestyle. We're not responsible for your lifestyle. Look, unless you mama, sis, first cousin, you can't get it.
When is too much for immediate family, though?
For mom is never enough. I'm gonna honestly say my mom can get it, whatever.
Facts.
Immediate family, I don't know, man. It's 2 stacks. 2 stacks? What about you?
Oh, man. You know what? Like, I think naturally most people have good hearts.
Of course.
And they want to help people.
Man, you just got soft right now, bro. Out of all that stuff you I'm just saying. Most people got good hearts.
I think most people do, but I think a person gets to a breaking point when they like, man, I'm tired of all this shit.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
So you there now, huh?
It's getting close. It's getting it's getting close. Okay. I need to see your paycheck schedule when you can pay me. Look, I'm pulling documents like the bank.
So you charge the interest?
I have before.
I'm gonna tell you, my best friend, like, he charges the interest.
You really should.
Yeah, he charges the interest.
So
he ain't apologetic for it too.
Look, they have what's called money tax on the street.
Yeah,
where if you borrow money in the streets, you paying back 10 to 25% on interest.
Of course.
So why do we think that you can borrow? You can't borrow money anywhere in the world and not pay interest.
That's true. So
if I borrow $300 from you, you shouldn't put interest on top.
You definitely should.
That's business 101.
Charging people interest.
We have, because that's the only way they're gonna respect it.
For sure.
That's only or let's say let's figure out how you could work this off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, come clean the office, get my cars washed, like carry these books. Like we got to figure out.
So you're not giving any money out for free now. You got to earn it.
Not.
You got to earn it.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's real.
You got to have a hell of a story. Look, you remember how you used to have to write them letters to like no, somebody would have to have a compelling story. Because I
get it.
I can tell you, in the past 3 years, I've probably loaned out at least about 40, 50,000. Never got it back.
You a real one for that.
Never got it back.
Got the bounty hunters trucks out.
Man, look, I'm sending 1099s.
No, we ain't sending 1099s.
No. You know what the 1099 is, right?
Is that 10 dudes with 99 guns?
It's close. 1099 is my accountant is going to send you that 1099 statement. So now you got to claim that as income.
Definitely. Ooh, he going about the white collar way.
And you getting it in June.
You know we got black hoodies on right now.
Hey, you done filed and got your tax refund. Hey, in June, you got a tax bill.
He doing it the good way.
Look. So it's close to 10 people with 99. Yeah.
We got black hoodies on right now. We need some black Air Force Ones.
You getting this 1099 in August.
We're going to kick those.
When you think it's all good.
Man, we need to get Will's money back. We're going to do that. Hey, man, put these hoodies on real quick. I don't know about y'all.
Hey, because it's too much information and opportunity out here for that to be your story forever.
People just want to cut corners, though, man. That's the bad part.
That's what makes it frustrating.
Yeah,
like it's too much out here.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Like especially when I know you got stuff in your closet you could sell.
Facts.
Like that's the part that frustrates me. You got purses, unless they fake. You could go get at least 400.
Exactly.
Easy, because I know if you go buy a purse for 1,200, I know you can't sell it back for 1,200. You might get 6.
Poshmark, man, you can sell your Jordans for at least 50, 60.
Easy.
You can maybe get 100 off a nice. Most people keep their shoes clean anyway. Easy, they barely wear them, and they're in good condition.
Man, dudes got belts.
The belts have no value though.
They don't, but somebody will spend $30 on them belts.
That's true.
Backpacks.
So we're gonna stack it up on the.
I'm seeing the Louis
resale.
duffels.
Yeah,
you go through the airport, Louis duffels everywhere.
That's true. Some things is fake though.
They fake as hell, but somebody will still buy one.
They definitely will.
Like I've seen people on social media that's built really strong e-commerce businesses selling fake designer.
That's true.
So somebody will buy that fake Louis duffel.
That's true. The fake stuff is going up.
It's going
moving off the
crazy.
shelf to live that
Because they
lifestyle.
stealing the real stuff out the store.
To live that lifestyle, bro. They really going.
So it's really, so that's what I'm saying. Like I have to look at the entire scenario, because if you got stuff in your closet,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need my $400.
Hey man, they don't want to sell that stuff, bro. They want to cut the corners.
Look.
Will the bank.
Look. You cannot go to Navy Federal.
Are you FDIC insured?
Hey, I might have to get that certification. I might have to mess around and get that certification. So yeah, no, if they have stuff in their closet,
this is authentic, y'all. I'm really spilling water on my hood. So we don't edit that.
We don't do we don't edit everything out.
No, we ain't
this
edit
is real life.
Real life authentic.
But
But
no,
man, like I totally agree with you, man. Now you've enlightened me today about my lending habits, and I'm definitely going to be scaling back on my lending habits.
We have to, man.
But we got to educate. We got to educate.
We do.
We got to educate these people.
We do. And that's why I would rather you come to my event, because I have relatives. I go back to Milwaukee a lot.
Of course.
Okay. Since 2017, I've probably done 20 events in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me how many relatives have showed up.
Do we want to put them on the spot?
Yeah.
All right. 2.
Probably 4.
Okay.
How
many cousins you got? You got a lot of cousins?
I got a lot of cousins. I know for a fact I got at least 50 in Milwaukee. Between
so out of
first,
all your
second,
cousins,
third.
so out of all your cousins, they're trying to figure out their next steps in life, and you're coming with a blueprint, and they're not showing up.
They don't show up.
So you're the risk taker in your family, right?
Definitely been a risk taker.
And you become successful by some of the strategies that you're teaching, and people are paying $20K, $30K, upwards of $100K for Will to be their mentor. And none of your people in your family have come to you and been like, teach me your wise one, Grand Poobah.
You know what's so crazy?
Brother Kiyosaki, I got another word for it.
What's so crazy? I think a lot of my family don't even really know what I do. I think they think I'm like a credit guy.
Okay, that's one aspect of your business.
I don't think they really know, because growing up, I can remember I've always been an entrepreneur.
Right.
And so I used to feel like I never sell my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that person who's like at every family reunion with the new, this year is Tupperware, this year it's this. Like I'm not
that way.
I'm not. So I don't sell friends nor family.
I'm the same way.
Like, and that's why sometimes, like, when we be at events and they want to pick my brain, I'm like, you're not gonna buy nothing. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't ever try to sell my family on stuff.
Okay.
But I remember back in my early 20s when I was first getting into entrepreneurship, I was looked at as the get rich quick dude.
In your family?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because a lot of people in my family got degrees.
Right.
Yeah.
So you was a hustler.
I was hustling.
They didn't know what you did, but you was a hustler.
What I did.
Okay.
They just knew I stopped coming to the family reunions. For one, I couldn't afford the kids. I couldn't afford to make it.
That's when you was living in Vegas?
Nah, I was still in Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
Oh, when I moved to Vegas, nobody saw me.
You're right.
I couldn't afford to fly back across the country.
That's real. These are real life stories, people, of an entrepreneur.
Super real life story.
This is a real life entrepreneur story right here. He has it in his books. Credit is king. What's the
Fulltime CEO? They don't tell you,
man. The stuff they don't tell you. He's telling you a real life story, rags to riches story out here, man. This is an entrepreneur, and he figured out strategies that can help you but also help a lot of other people become wealthy, generational wealthy.
You know, it don't even be about the wealth though.
Not for you, but the strategies will help you can help you be wealthy.
Well, no, I'm not even saying not even necessarily just for me. I'm talking about even for the people.
Right.
Like, I think when we think about becoming wealthy, that's so far out of the reach of the average person.
No, 100%. I agree with that. Yeah.
If you ask the average person what's their financial goals, what do you think they'll say?
Probably to make 6 figures.
And what is 6 figures to most people?
100,000.
100,000
on the dot.
On the dot. That is
not a cent more, not a cent less.
Like when I hear these relationship podcasts, and they be arguing, I want a person that makes 6 figures. They got to make at least 100,000. And I'll be want to say, boo, that is not a lot of money.
Just to take you to roof, Chris. And I ain't even a flex no more.
It's really not.
And they really acting like they can't take you to Cheesecake Factory.
Roof Chris and Cheesecake probably in the same category.
Man, that's what I was about to say. And they really don't even know the value of nothing.
They in the same category.
They don't know the value of nothing, man.
They in the same category. Yeah. The average person can't fathom wealth.
And they probably ordering chicken fingers. Baked chicken from Roof Chris. They do got baked chicken at Roof Chris, but I never ordered
baked chicken is like a delicacy now at a restaurant.
Stop capping, Joe.
No, I'm not saying it is, but what I'm saying, when people want to be bougie at a restaurant, they're ordering baked chicken.
You know what they order with the baked chicken?
Brussels sprouts.
No, fries and ketchup.
Hey, I don't know.
I've seen it before. I've been there. I've been on a date.
It's been a while since I've been in them restaurants.
I've been on a date.
So somebody ordered baked chicken with French fries.
French fries, man.
Bro, I would have got up. Even when I was poor.
No, man. I was probably poor at that time. Too.
I didn't eat like that.
I wasn't wealthy though. I mean, I wasn't.
When I was broke, I didn't try to go out to eat.
Let me tell you a story when I first went out to my first fine restaurant.
All right.
And my mama embarrassed me.
Oh man.
We went to Benihana's.
Oh man.
When I was
cross your legs at the table?
When I was probably like 8, 9. I looked at the menu. I was like, $50? I must never smacked me in my head. Like, boy, act like you've been somewhere before because I embarrassed her. So from that standpoint, from that time on, I had to act like I've been somewhere before.
Man.
But when she ordered chicken at that restaurant and French fries.
Chicken tenders?
No, it was baked chicken.
Oh, I told you the baked chicken, that's a flex to different places.
Nah, I can't do it.
See, when
baked chicken, if we go to a steak restaurant like Carbone, someplace like that, like if you order some chicken, what was the purpose of coming here?
I don't like people that order like hamburgers at a seafood restaurant.
Might as well win the Five Guys, huh?
See, even when I was like poor, like broke, I didn't go out to eat.
Right. Of course you
should. I just 4 for $4.
Wendy's. Boy. Hey, them double stacks used to be fire.
That was hitting.
Yeah.
Look, baby, look. If you
can get a Frosty.
You can get this Frosty. Hey, I wasn't even trying to play them games in front. Like,
nah, I get it.
Look, you ain't about to have my card declined.
No, I get it. I mean, when I was in college, boy, them 4 for $4 used to hit.
Man, I didn't go out to eat. And I didn't start going out to eat till I was in a position where I didn't look at what the food cost.
Right. No, you're right about that though. I got to think about that. Like, I don't really ask any questions.
Yeah, it's just like
anymore.
I already know the average steak here is going to be like 90. The cuts that I like.
Exactly.
The average, this is that. I mean,
the surf and turf.
Bowl of mac and cheese is $30.
Scallops is my thing.
So it's like,
hold on, we're gonna go back to this though. Lamb chops.
Oh man. Man, I ain't never seen.
Hey man, lamb chops is A1 though.
No, lamb chops is A1, but they wasn't delicacies back in the day.
No, they definitely wasn't. It came out of nowhere.
Man, I think about lamb chops, oxtails, all that stuff was like $3.
Okay, Williams say you ain't never seen an ox run around.
Man, look.
Oxtails came out of nowhere.
Nowhere. $50.
No, for real.
For 2.
Yeah.
And I don't even eat oxtails.
I don't eat oxtails either. I'm not on that.
I don't eat that.
I'm not on that train.
Just give me a steak.
Yeah.
Give me a steak. Some lamb chops sometimes too.
Nah, lamb chops is my one. I might order lamb chops before a steak though. That's just, I don't know what happened to me with lamb chops.
You done got bougie.
Think so?
Man, your mama didn't make you no lamb chops growing up.
At all. Pork chops. Ain't had no lamb chops.
Mama didn't make lamb chops.
And them lamb chops,
up.
I had to get the leftovers in the fridge
You know
or the
what I'm
next
saying?
day. So, like, yeah, we're certified with the pork chops, but the lamb chops, I don't know. I got bougie.
Man. So
Yeah.
would you let somebody borrow money to go on a date?
Oh, no. If you can't, what? Why you ask me to borrow money to go on a date, though? What?
You might be blocking him from...
Man, you better learn some creative strategies of dating. The first strategy, go on a picnic.
Right, look. It's interesting because I think I had somebody who asked me to borrow money to go out.
Man,
this was a long time ago though.
He need to rethink his strategy for real.
Man, look.
The one might not be the one for you at that point in time.
Look.
Timing is everything. Because you're going to lose it regardless. Now you're going to be in debt for a date.
Man, this is why we got to help people.
Well, man, he might be in debt for a date.
No, I ain't saying help him get him the money. I'm saying we got to help him get in position.
Why would you be in debt for a date?
Hey.
Man, they better drive you around to Pahrump to Pahrump to Reno. You better be called Farnsworth Bentley around this joint. You getting money for a date.
Times is different.
I can't do it, cuz.
No, I'm with you. I wouldn't let nobody borrow money for a date either.
They can't even.
Because now you got to keep it up.
Yeah, a facade.
You got to keep it up. It's from what I'm hearing from the bros.
You got to be really a bold person to ask somebody for some money to go on a date.
Here's something that I've learned about being bold and embarrassed.
It don't exist.
You're only embarrassed if you care what people think.
That's true.
On certain things. Some people don't give a damn what you think.
Wow.
So yeah, they will ask you for some money to go out on a date. I couldn't even ask people to borrow money to pay my bills back in the day.
Man, me either. That was a tough one.
I was like,
I did it though.
I'll just be late.
And I paid all
cut my shit off.
I made sure I paid all my debts back.
I didn't need the lights. Just cut them off.
Man,
I lived in a week. I'm cut from a different cloth. Look, just cut the lights off.
Slept in your car?
I done did it all, man.
Man, I didn't. I've been there before.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it was like, because I always knew it was temporary.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't get them back on, I'll find somebody's name to put them up on. My brother has a couple utility bills in his when I first moved to Vegas.
Okay.
These true stories, man.
So survival.
Look, but I always did it with good intentions.
Of course.
I wasn't gonna burn his name. I made sure that I didn't put myself in that position again.
Okay. So, moral of the story is, we're not loaning out any money.
We're not loaning out any money. Or at least you've changed your stance.
I've changed my stance, but we're going to work with people.
We're going to work with them.
We're going to educate them.
Get their credit right.
Get them credit right. And we're going to
get them some real estate.
Some property.
What else?
We're going to also learn y'all some sweat equity, though. We're going to teach you how to
be valuable.
Get value. Yeah. Make yourself a value to a person that's either in position or is helping you in any capacity with your business or what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. Was that a good one?
No, that's a good one. I might even start a new business.
That's a bar. What?
Drive a mentor. If you wanna get with your favorite mentor, we got a service.
So dinner
put in your application.
Dinner with Jay-Z or $500K, or is it drive Jay-Z?
Man, I'm taking the 500
all day.
Like, first of all,
that wouldn't even pass my mind.
Jay-Z has relatives who broke. So, and nothing against Hov, because I'm a huge Hov fan, but
for sure,
let's just say Hov gave you a strategy. How you gonna implement it with no money?
You can't, because especially if you don't know how to get to the money, which we management
we specialize in that.
We specialize in that, getting to the money.
So you can have dinner with us.
We have more value than Jay-Z at this point in time. Dude.
Jeez. We got more value than Hov because we can show you how to
That's deep right there.
That's
G.
very deep. I didn't think about that till you said that.
We bring more value than Jay-Z.
Man, do you know I have a client, and I'll wrap up with this.
Okay.
So I have a client, and everybody know the infamous Tommy client of mine.
For sure.
Shout out to Tommy. A few years ago, he came to me and signed up for one-on-one coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he went over all his goals and everything he wanted to accomplish. And about 3 weeks into coaching, he lost his job.
Mm.
So he came back to me. He was like, "Will, I lost my job."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Why are you telling me? You ain't getting no refund."
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you said you wanted to get to the next level.
Right.
But here's what ends up happening with a lot of people. They conform back to what's comfortable.
Exactly.
And I'm like, no, this may be the push you needed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm never one to tell people not to not have a job.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that you can go back and get another job, but don't give up on what you told me you wanted to do.
That's your dream. That's your
dream.
That's your goal.
And so despite all of that, the one thing he still had was he had good credit.
Mm-hmm.
So we took this man with no job, good credit.
Mm-hmm.
He followed all of the other concepts and strategies I put him in place with, and was able to get about 100 and some thousand in funding.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually used his money to buy his first investment property.
Mm-hmm.
Then he refinanced his investment property, took the money out tax-free, and went and bought a business.
Mm-hmm.
He has a party rental business out there in Illinois. It's been ranked one of the top businesses in that industry. They have like some type of metrics, where they recognize local businesses, and he's won the award like the past 3 years. Wow. He now owns 2 businesses. He has 3 investment properties. His wife now is no longer working. Mm-hmm. And so all because he took the dinner with Will.
Shout out to the dinner with Will.
Well, it really wasn't a dinner. It was a Zoom call.
Shit was still working.
It's still
He eating knowledge.
He eating knowledge, man.
So from that knowledge that you gave him, taught him some game. Wasn't a dinner. It was a Zoom. So how many people can we just access you and get client to time or strategy call with one of the people on the We Management team to get some of that knowledge?
Man, I mean, if they serious, they'll reach out. Mm-hmm. We make time. We make time for those who want the time and who's serious about implementing with the game plan.
Mm-hmm. And it's not free.
The dinner with Jay-Z really not free.
No.
You paying.
Definitely gonna pay.
Because if he might get up. Yeah. You start saying something like, "Hey, can you rap where I'm from?" He getting up.
So from the moral of the story is for that right now, if you want to pay for knowledge, you have to pay for knowledge.
You got to.
If you want to gain the knowledge, if you want to bring value or something to somebody or increase your livelihood and get to the next level, you have to pay for a good mentor. You have to bring value to your mentor, and you have to be open-minded to learn.
It's the cost of admission.
Exactly.
It's the cost of admission.
That's great. That's great information.
Definitely. So where can they find you at, Curtis?
Find me on all platforms, Mr. C. Blair. Also, I have my company is under C. Blair and Associates. Facebook, all the other Twitters, everything's the same. Where can they find you at? Man,
they can find me across all social media platforms at Mr. Will Roundtree. Make sure you subscribe to all of the different YouTubes, the LinkedIn, the Instagram, all of that. Have your notifications on. I'm always going live. And more importantly, don't ask me to borrow money in my DMs.
No. And also, check out our merch online, Fulltime CEO. We got new stuff coming out every day.
Always.
We got sweatsuits, tracksuits, t-shirts, books, information, educational information. So tap in and really getting some real content out here. We don't have plays. We have strategies.
We got strategies.
And we help you get to that bag.
Definitely. So with that being said, we got no more to say. See y'all at the top. Let's go.